Picture a scandal that forces regulators to move fast. Back in December 2025, an image editing feature on X was used to generate fake intimate pictures of real people, and it went everywhere. Europe responded. The EU's new Digital Omnibus amendment adds the very first named AI prohibition to the AI Act, and it targets exactly that kind of abuse. Here is what the rule actually says and when it starts to bite. So what did lawmakers put on paper? 3 facts carry the whole rule, and each one is worth pinning down. What gets banned comes first. The amendment prohibits AI systems that generate or manipulate non-consensual intimate imagery of an identifiable person, and it also covers AI-generated child sexual abuse material. This is the AI Act's first explicitly named prohibition, not a vague principle. When it starts matters just as much. Enforcement of this prohibition kicks in on December 2nd, 2026. That is a hard date, even though the same omnibus quietly pushed some high-risk obligations further out into 2027 and 2028. How hard it hits is the last piece. Breaking this rule can cost up to 35 million euros, or 7% of a company's global annual turnover, whichever is higher. For a large provider, 7% of worldwide revenue is the number that actually concentrates the mind. Now, how does the rule decide whether a given system is caught? Follow one provider through the test. Everything starts with the provider, the company shipping the AI system into the European market. The question the regulation asks is simple. Does this system have the capability to produce the prohibited kind of imagery? At the center sits that capability, the ability to generate or manipulate non-consensual intimate imagery of a real, identifiable person. If the system can do this, it moves into the danger zone the amendment was written for. Then comes the crucial test. A provider is caught when producing such material is the intended purpose, and also when it is a reasonably foreseeable output that the provider failed to guard against. You cannot hide behind saying you never meant for it to happen, and the outcome at the end is binary. Fail the test, and the system is prohibited outright with those very large fines attached. Pass it with real safeguards, and you stay on the right side of the line. There is no light-touch middle tier here. Here is why this feels like a genuine shift in one comparison. The earlier approach leaned on transparency. Deepfakes and synthetic media had to be labeled so people would at least know an image was AI-generated. Useful, but labeling assumes the content is allowed to exist in the first place. It manages the harm rather than forbidding it. Outright prohibition is a different instrument entirely. For this narrow, serious category, the answer is no, the system may not produce it at all, full stop. Look, moving from label it to ban it is a real escalation, and expect other jurisdictions to study this template closely. Alright, let's lock in the essentials worth carrying away. The Digital Omnibus Amendment adds the AI Act's first named prohibition, aimed squarely at non-consensual intimate imagery and AI-generated child sexual abuse material. It was triggered directly by that December 2025 deepfake scandal, which is why lawmakers moved so quickly. Enforcement begins December 2nd, 2026, and that is a firm date, even though the same omnibus separately deferred a set of high-risk obligations out into 2027 and 2028. Providers are caught when producing the abuse is the intended purpose, and also when it is a reasonably foreseeable output they failed to prevent with adequate safeguards. Intent is not a shield. Penalties are enormous, reaching 35 million euros, or 7% of global turnover, whichever is higher. Want more European AI rules unpacked in plain language? Head over to Standarity.com and dig in.